This is our week 10 guidance in lieu of a class Tuesday. We will have a very important class next week during week 11. All right, a face-to-face class, and I really want to go over some of the final details of the course. Particularly want to go over what I expect in your upcoming PowerPoint. This week is a busy week, even without a class. You're going to be finishing up the last of your learning diaries, which I will grade next week, and there's no going back, no makeup. And you're also doing the last of the discussions this week. Isn't that nice? And you'll have, of course, to the end of next week to finish the week 10 discussions. And then I'll grade those, and we'll be done with those. No going back and regrading them. The big project for this week, though, is your outline, and I'm going to send you a couple of samples of outlines. And this is a very important project. It's a project for you. It's not for me. I mean, it gives me a checkpoint. It gives me a chance to see if you are organized and if you've thought out your paper well. And if you haven't thought it out well yet, I can tell you this, okay? So it's an important checkpoint for both of us, but it's really for you. This is what is going to cause you to finish the thinking about your paper, and I guarantee you that when you're ready to write your paper, it'll write very easily after this, okay? The whole purpose of the course has been these sequenced assignments, very carefully sequenced, so that when you're actually ready to sit down and write your paper, you've done all the brainstorming, all the organization, all the researching, all the citing, you're ready to roll, okay? So please give a lot of attention this week to the readings. Do them first, all right? Don't start your outline first. Don't even do your learning diary first, okay? Start the readings. I have you read about two different kinds of arguments from your textbook. There's what's called evaluation arguments, and then there's called proposal arguments. And this is going to give you an idea of how you might want to organize your paper. All right. Then I give you a reading on how to develop an outline for a research paper. And then I also give you another reading on how to develop an argumentative outline. And then I finally give you a fifth reading on the Tolman model of using logic to develop your outline. Okay, so all these readings are very, very important, and they're going to help you create a A-level outline. And I expect a very detailed outline. I expect a very good outline. One thing to think about is paper's 10 pages long. And we talked about this early on in the course. If it's 10 pages, there's usually about 3 well-developed points per page, 3 paragraphs per page. Okay, a point is a paragraph. So you need, outside of the introduction and conclusion, to be able to make about 28 points. Now, some of these can be points and subpoints. Some of these can even be a little bit repetitive. That sometimes you make a point and you illustrate it, and then you want to make it again and illustrate it some more, and then you want to tell another story about it. So some points, you know, might get 3 paragraphs or so. And then those same points might have some counterpoints, okay, just depending on how you formulate your argument, how you do your organization. Okay, but generally speaking, you need to think about 28 paragraphs, 28 points, subpoints, counterpoints you want to make. Then, of course, there are subpoints, but those are within the paragraphs, okay? So I've sent you 2 sample outlines that kind of illustrate this. These outlines got 100s, okay? And but as I keep saying, it's not the grade that's important here. It's that you're doing the thinking, that you're doing the brainstorming, that you're getting ready to write the paper. And this is how you're going to get an A-level paper out of this. So that's pretty much week 10, very important week. To summarize, the end of the learning diaries, the end of the discussions. There's 2 final discussions. One's about music and culture. It's fun. And then, of course, we have the perennial energy debate. And all along, the purpose of these discussions has been to help you with critical thinking, help keep your mind fluid, help you see positions from multiple points of view. Okay. Now, briefly, moving ahead, week 11, you're going to turn in a PowerPoint. That's a big project. All right. I want it done well. And the PowerPoint relates to your outline. Okay, the PowerPoint helps you visualize your paper, and it continues your brainstorming, continues your thinking about your paper. Guess what? Week 12, you write your paper, and you turn it in for peer review. You don't turn it in to me yet for week 12. You turn it in for peer review. So I'll tell you more about that as we get closer to it. When I said your discussions are over, I mean that as far as going back and forth on topics, those discussions are over. Next week, you're going to post your not your outline, but the following week, and at the end of week 11, you're going to post your PowerPoint in 2 places, one of which is the discussions, and one of which is to me an assignment. And that way you get to review each other's PowerPoints, which is a learning experience, all right, for you and your peers. And then in week 12, when the paper is due, that's actually a discussion. That's peer review and a discussion, and you all will look at each other's papers and talk about them and try to help each other out. So to keep this video fairly short, I'd like to conclude it. But there's no class. This is the video in lieu of the class, and it's the outline this week that we're looking at, and I'm looking forward for a detailed, a really well thought out outline. Don't skimp on this project. It's very important for you. It's for you. Okay, and then you're wrapping up your discussions this week, and you're wrapping up your learning diaries this week, and I will be grading your learning diaries at the beginning of next week. There's no going back, no such thing as late learning diaries at this point. Okay, have a good week.